So I was hanging out in the Toasty Bros office today trying to come up with a video idea for the following Monday because we had some delays on PC parts for an upcoming PC build. And because of that, I decided to dive onto Craigslist and see if there was anything worthwhile in picking up and doing a video on. I kind of came up with the idea of doing a Craigslist deep dive and showing you all how we get some of our local deals and some examples of good deals that we definitely have in our local area, and also an example of some not so good deals that I know a lot of you probably see on your local listings. So, how about we get right into it? But first, a word from today's sponsor.
Dude, I've been having so many issues lately just getting views on my YouTube videos, and I can't figure it out, man.
Well, that is a perfect thing that you just mentioned, because right here is TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is an awesome tool to help you grow on YouTube with a keyword optimization search engine tool, and also the ability to plan out your videos and overall get better analytics compared to YouTube alone.
Where has this been all my life?
You can check it out in the description down below and use that link because it helps us out. Now, into the video.
Now keep in mind, I am going to be blurring out a bunch of the information for these listings just for the privacy of the seller. Yes, these are posted on public websites, but just so we don't have any issues here, I'm just going to try to keep it as anonymous as possible. Now, not all of these listings are bad listings. There's actually a couple of them that are pretty good, and I might actually be reaching out to the seller really soon to get some stuff for some videos. So let me know in the comment section down below what your favorite deal was. And also, we're going to be taking a look at a total of 4 computers, 4 gaming computers, and give you a good idea of the kind of crap that we deal with and the kind of good crap that we're able to get a hold of. First up right here, we have a gaming PC. Now the price of this system is $350. Now the specs for this system are as follows. As you can see right here, there is a Corsair Carbide 500R, there is an NVIDIA GTX 770, an i5-3570 CPU, which is just your standard quad-core CPU, an Intel LGA 1155 motherboard, a single stick of 8 gigs of memory, we'll come back to that later, a 120 gig SSD with Windows 10 Pro activated, which is definitely a plus, and also a 500 gigabyte hard drive, plus a Thermaltake Tough Power 550 watt 80 plus gold power supply. So overall, this system comes in at a total of $350 by the seller, and really based on these pictures, it's not that bad. It honestly looks really clean. The inside isn't the best. The outside looks pretty presentable, which is, always a plus, but cable management is what I would like to say so-so. You could have done a lot better with it. Some of the wiring is really wild, but it's not as bad as some of the bird's nests I've seen in some systems on local listings, which we might get to here in this video. But an i5-3570 system with a GTX 770 for $350 is a little bit pricey. Now, does that mean I couldn't reach out to this person and talk them down to maybe like $300 and then have somewhat of a decent deal? Yeah, it probably would be worth getting. $300 to $250 would actually be a good price for the system. That power supply, while be it a little bit older, is still a good unit. The motherboard is upgradable. We could go something like an i7-3770 if you wanted to. The i5-3570 is still a very capable processor, even though it's only a quad core. And also the fact that it comes with an SSD and a hard drive with activated Windows 10 is a really good bargain. The only thing that's holding me back from reaching out to the seller is that single stick of 8 gigs of memory. Running single channel in 2019 kinda sucks for most systems. You really want to be running dual channel because you're really limiting performance by running single channel. So if you do look out there and you're looking for a system and let's say it only comes with 1 stick of memory, be a little bit weary. Single channel memory can severely hinder the performance of some systems. More specifically, if you're buying a new system like an OEM tower with like an AMD Ryzen processor in it, you can lose nearly half your performance sometimes just by running single channel memory. So RAM is not something to gloss over. Just because they say they have 8 gigs of memory, make sure it's running in dual channel. It can be very beneficial if you do have it that way. The guy put up a really awesome listing, no complaints here. The pictures are nice, you know what you're getting. I would have liked to see one more picture inside the case, and also I really like the fact that he did include benchmarks of the system itself using what looks like Unigen 2. I'm not really sure which benchmark utility this is. That's a really awesome thing to include because if you're just an average gamer, you can take that number that you get from the benchmarks and kind of figure out what kind of performance numbers you're gonna get. Honestly, with this kind of a system, I would lowball as much as I possibly could, like $250 $150 to $200 and then try to upgrade the crap out of the thing and put it maybe in a little bit of a nicer case and then upcharge it and flip it. This is the kind of system that would be good for a flip if you get it on a good deal. So overall, this is a good representation of the kind of deals that we can find that are not overly bad, but also not the greatest in the world. So let's go on to the next one real quick. Next up, we have another gaming PC, and this one comes in at $1,200. Let's go ahead and read these specs real quick. This is a newly upgraded gaming desktop. With Windows 10, I'm assuming an activated license, but I'll probably have to ask the seller to be sure, a GTX 1066 gig, an Asus ROG Strix Z370E motherboard, an i7 8700K, 16 gigs of RAM, and a 1TB hard drive, and a Hyper 212 Evo, and the guy says it runs all new games just fine at or above 60 FPS. Can't remember the name of the PC, but the case itself is listed on Newegg for $225, and it's very premium and quite spacious. So let's go back up and look at these pictures real quick. First of all, not the best pictures. This is something that's very common on Craigslist with people who don't normally sell stuff. They don't take the best pictures. And in this case, when you have someone who clearly is just trying to sell the PC just to make some money back because he probably paid a lot of money for it and really doesn't need it anymore, he probably just wants to get money quick. $1,200 though is a very high price. Yes, the ROG Strix Z370E motherboard is a pretty pricey motherboard. The 8700K is still a great processor, but a 1066 gig in a $1,200 PC? No. We could build a much better system brand new, honestly, for $1,200 that's way more balanced than this. Next up is kind of a funny one. When you're browsing on Craigslist, you really don't know what you're gonna stumble upon. In this case, we have a guy selling a gaming PC, but really, you couldn't tell by this picture. I don't know what I'm looking at. The specs are an i7 4770 MSI motherboard with OC Genie, 8 gigs of DDR3 memory, 2TB hard drive, and a Corsair case with Windows 10 installed. He's asking $300, which is kind of pricey for a system like this without a graphics card. And also, he's advertising an i7 4770 without a graphics card as a gaming PC, which is definitely not accurate at all. I'd probably, if I were to buy this system, pay maybe like $200 and then throw something in there and it'd be a really good bargain. $300 is kind of pricey for an older i7. And also it would have been a lot more compelling if the guy actually posted some better pictures, like actually showing the whole PC as opposed to the glass with the reflection of your PC. So, you know, not the best ad here. Now this PC right here does one thing right, the price. Well, maybe, I don't really know yet. But one thing is for sure, this guy definitely needs to work on a couple of things. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. This right here is honestly one nasty looking system. So he is using a liquid cooler. If you look at some of these pictures, there's a lot of dust. This man has it sitting on carpet. It looks like one of the stands on the actual case are broken. Because you see how it's kind of tilted right here at an angle. Not the prettiest system I've ever seen, but holy crap, there's definitely a lot of dust in this system. But one thing that kind of drew my attention to this board is the fact that in his description, he says that this is a Windows 10 PC that is about 3 years old and everything in it is new. I don't know what your definition of new is, but okay, let's go on. Let's keep going. It says all it needs is a motherboard and you're in business. There's a motherboard in the system, which is kind of confusing. So I'm not sure if he knows what he's talking about or if he just kind of made that up. I'm totally confused. Also said that there's a brand new video card and 32 gigs of RAM and a water cooler. The thing is, this guy's only asking $325 for this. I really can't tell exactly what this is. If anyone could tell, this looks like a professional series motherboard, a Fatality motherboard. I don't know what chipset this is. It looks like DDR3 with 2100 plus megahertz RAM. So it is something that supports DDR3, so it's probably an older Intel board. I can't really tell exactly what this is from the pictures. If this system does come with a motherboard and it's not like he said, where he said in the description that it is brand new and all you need is a motherboard and you're in business. I mean, it might actually be a decent offering, even though that this guy has his shoe next to his PC. Is he trying to do like a for scale thing? I really have no idea what's going on here, but I might hit this guy up and just see what kind of stuff he's got. It might be worth it if it actually does include the motherboard, even though the description says it doesn't include the motherboard. So this right here is a ROG gaming computer. Well, it's using one of these Thermaltake cases that I used to see back in the day when I was building systems. The Thermaltake Level 10. This thing was a very expensive case back in the day. It definitely hasn't aged well. It kind of looks very funky. It is definitely not something that I would recommend anyone go out of their way to buy, but obviously this man has been using it for a while. He says he's going to be upgrading to a smaller form factor computer and that he wants to sell this thing, which I don't blame him because this thing probably weighs a ton. He said this machine was custom built by himself over the years and it's still solid, high-end, powerful machine. He said it was originally built as a gaming computer but has been tweaked over the years to support deep learning with my new job. So basically he's been using this as a work PC and the specs might actually represent that. So let's scroll down real quick and see what kind of specs we're rocking with. So it looks like the specs include a very nice motherboard, which is an ROG Asus Maximus V1 formula, which for those who do not know, the Asus Maximus series is a very high-end motherboard. Honestly, in most cases, the highest-end motherboard you can get for an Intel system, even some older AMD systems. It is literally one of the best boards that you could get, and really that does add a lot of value to the system. We'll talk more about the total asking price in a minute. Now the CPU is only an i7 4770K, which yes, is an older processor. Would I recommend someone spend a lot of money on a 4770K system now? Probably not. It's an okay processor. If you overclock it, it probably perform well enough for a budget gaming system, but let's just go on a little bit. So for some reason, this guy with his RAM configuration didn't list a total in gigabytes. He listed it in megabytes, which looks like it would be 24 gigabytes of memory if my memory actually serves me correctly. So yes, he is rocking 24 gigs of RAM. In terms of physical memory, which he's talking about his 500 gigabyte SSD, a 1 terabyte hard drive, and that's about it. A 500 gig SSD, 1 terabyte hard drive. Okay. He's using a Corsair Hydro H100i cooler. He linked that. Cool, that works. And then a 1070 Founders Edition, which a 1070 is a pretty good card. I don't believe he actually has a Founders Edition because I remember looking at the pictures and it looked like an EVGA card. Power supply is an FSP FX600, which is, well, a basic power supply, nothing too crazy. And overall, he says this system has a lot of life in it. It says it weighs around 50 pounds, which is crazy ridiculous. This guy is asking $1,000 for this PC, and honestly, I probably wouldn't pay more than like $700, $600 or $700, and that would be really pushing it. And if you look inside this case, this is definitely not a Founders 1070. This is an EVGA Superclock 1070, like an SC. I don't know about that one. And also there's a lot of dust in the system. If you can tell on the top of that backplate is supposed to be totally black. It kind of has a little bit of a dust glaze to it. Hi, Editing Matt here. After editing this video, I also realized something else that was wrong with this system. The fact that the guy has the graphics card on the bottom PCI slot. Why? What? I just wanted to point that out because I know you in the comment section would do that. So, and also cable management is less than desirable. That power supply is blue. Man, for $1,000, I think you're asking way too much for what you got here. It's an older system that you've upgraded over time, I'll give you that. But it's definitely a little bit funky looking. The cable management, man, there's none. There's literally none with this system. It's just kind of thrown in there. And the fact that you're asking $1,000 for this PC, I don't know if I would really even throw an offer in on this guy, because when people post with this much detail, they're trying to justify the fact that their system is worth $1,000. And in reality, as I mentioned, I'd probably pay like $600 to $700 for this system because of some of the older parts that really need to be upgraded. $1,000? No, it's definitely not worth it. So that about wraps this video up here, guys. I hope this was entertaining and gave you a little bit of insight as to the local listings that we get here where I live, and kind of give you an idea what to look for and kind of how to post your Craigslist listings a little bit better. I know this is kind of a popular trend amongst tech YouTubers to do these Craigslist postings, and I'll probably only do this one video and that's about it. But if you do enjoy this type of video, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I might consider doing a few more of these here at Toasty Bros HQ. Thank you guys again for watching. If you haven't done so already, please like the video and comment Craigslist PC in the comment section down below if you made it this far. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and checking out all our other PC builds and tutorials on the YouTube channel. And hopefully I will see you all in the next one, guys. Peace.